Welcome to another episode of Gameworms. I am your host, Reil, and today we're just going to be looking at the status phase of Twilight Imperium. And if you have the actual board game, there's actually your card where you hold your tactical sheets. These cards here actually outline it step by step. Quick reference guide. I kind of did a mini pre-setup game just for show. I don't want to mess up the ones I've set up for examples. Hold on a second. Let's unlock this guy. Yank that out of there. We'll rotate it. I didn't think to do this before recording. But if you look at the card here, it outlines the tactical action, but also the status phase. So when you get to the status phase, you just need to look at those 8 steps, and you're just following them one at a time. So the first thing we're going to do is score objectives. Now, we haven't really covered objectives in any of the videos yet, but objectives are the ways that you score points in order to win the game. And in a game, you win either 10 or 14 points, depending what track you've chosen. Right? Ooh, I don't know what happened there. But it depends which track you've chosen, but the track that it seems to have set up by default here is the 14-point track, so a longer game. There are 2 public objective decks. There's the stage 1, which are each worth 1 point, and then the stage 2, which are each worth 2 points. And you start the game with 5 out of each ones drawn randomly, so it's not the same objectives every game. And you start with 2 of them revealed. So what you're doing during the game is you're trying to figure out which, since you can only score 1 per status phase, so you're trying to choose one you could do. So in my case, I actually chose the Nomad as my starting faction, who starts with a flagship. And as long as it doesn't get destroyed during the round, I could claim this one for a point. All right, so scoring objectives. There's also secret objectives over here. So you'll start the game with one of these. And some of them say action phase on them, and some of them say status phase. This one says status phase. So in this case, you would also score this during the status phase. If it's an action phase, when you score it immediately as soon as you fulfill the objective. So in this one, it says have units with a combined production value of at least 8 in a single system. So that could be 2 space docks in a system or something. So you can score one secret objective and 1 public objective per status phase. All right, and once you score it, you have little flags. So where's my Nomad? You get these little tokens here, and you would put it on the objective that you've scored, the public objective. So let's say I scored this one. I put my little token there to show I've got that point. I find my little token on the track here, move it up 1. The secret objectives you actually just place in front of you. So if I scored this, I would just keep it here. So that would mean this round I got 2 points, 1 public objective and 1 secret objective, which would be really, really good for a first round. First round, it's often hard to get 1. I just got lucky on the draw because the Nomad just happens to start with the flagship. All right, so after the objectives are scored, you reveal a new public objective. So we go back to the objective stack here, and we're just going to go in order and flip them. So the next one that comes up is this. So have structures on 3 planets outside of your home system. So that's space docks or PDS. So that gives you another option for the next round to work towards. You should always be working towards one of these objectives and or a secret objective. Draw action cards. You don't start the game with any action cards, but at the beginning of the round, or during the status phase, you will get an action card. So let me draw one of mine. Now there are technologies and abilities that will let you draw more than one, but by default, you start the game with 1. And let's take a look at what we got here. So economic initiative. This is a card. It says action on it, which means I would play this as my turn. And these are actually really nice if you need to like blow a turn in order to wait to see what somebody else is doing. Gives you a chance to stall a little bit. But this would let you ready each cultural planet you control. So that's the planet with the little blue circly symbols. And that would let you spend their resources and or influence again. So if you've already used it, you spend it again. So that's pretty good. All right. So you collect these action cards. You can have up to 7 of them in your hand. We'll do have a separate video just about those. But so it's step 3 of the status phase is you draw these cards. The next thing you do is remove command tokens. So on the board here as the Nomad, I've activated 2 systems and taken the planets. I did a pretty good job. I got 4 planets this round. But at this point, I get to remove my command tokens from the board, which frees up my fleets again. They were kind of stuck while the token is there. I remove them. I do not put them back on the board at this point. Then step 5, gain and redistribute tokens. So what I do is now I get 2 by default. So you might have an ability that lets you get more. But by default, you get 2 tokens back, and you can redistribute the tokens on the board. So let's say I decide, well, I don't really need any big fleets this round, but I want more strategy tokens. You know, I can move one over here. So you can kind of you can rearrange them on the board, but you're only getting back 2 every round, so you need to manage them fairly carefully. Ready cards. So during the course of the round, you're going to have exhausted cards. So in this place, well, I didn't take the planet cards for the ones I conquered. I should have. But let's say I spent Arcturus to build something. I flipped it over to the black and white side. But now I can flip it back to the colored side, which shows that it's now ready. So I can spend it again. In addition, I have a lot of agents as the Nomad. He has 3 agents. So these guys I just turned sideways to show that I used them. You can do that. And there are certain other cards like technologies, for example, that will have exhausted features. So technology maybe you can use once per round. So at this point you ready all of the cards that were exhausted. Number 7, repair units. So we'll take a look here. I have one ship that took some damage. So my Memoria 1, my flagship's flipped upside down. That's because these X-Jaw came in and tried to kill me, and I fought them off, but they injured my flagship. So at this point, I get to... Sorry, my computer's... There we go. I get to flip it back over to the top side. It's fixed now. All right. And then return the strategy card. So this round, I had taken the number 4 card, the construction card. See, it's exhausted because I used it. And at this point, I would put it back in its position over here. There we go. And then if you've unlocked the agenda phase, that means if somebody's taken Mechatol Rex at this point, you would go to the agenda phase. If not, you cycle back to the beginning of round 2 with a new strategy phase. So that's all there is to it. Easy to follow if you just follow your step-by-step quick reference guide. So have a good evening and good gaming.